Teams have been announced. It's getting very, very real. We are just over 48 hours away from the first test match in Brisbane between the British and Irish Lions and Australia. And congratulations to all 46 players who will be taken to the field, because this is one of the biggest moments of their life. And the second that name was announced, that those names were announced by Andy Farrell, national identity dissolved in my mind. They become Lions. And I cannot wait to be cheering them on Saturday morning. Well, it'll be Saturday night, actually, by the time I get there, because I am heading off to Australia today, and I'm absolutely buzzing. And I would love to know what you think about the team, about this match, about how you think the game's going to go. Do you think Australia have any realistic possibility? And if so, how? Who are you most pleased for? Or who do you feel for the most on the other side of things? Because the elation of players that are going to be pulling on that jersey is one thing. The people that are going to be sat in the stand thinking what might have been, well, that's another matter altogether. Although it is a 3-match series, of course, and there is plenty of time for heroes to emerge from out of the shadows. So the tour is not done yet for the rest of the squad that are not selected. But let me focus on the ones which are. That looks to me like a team that is going to go out and try and crush Australia. And when the doors have been pounded down enough by the first 15, there's 8 more on the bench to be unloaded and just hopefully make it a miserable day for Australia. That is what they will be looking to do, I think, just smash the Wallabies. It's certainly what the selection looks like. It's a massive team. It's a real high pedigree team. And yeah, you'd have to be confident that they've got plenty in their locker. It's not a surprise, this team, is it? On 2 fronts, I say that, because first and foremost, I picked, or back on Tuesday morning, I did a video where I picked what my British and Irish Lions team would be, and it was pretty similar to this, but a couple of changes. But I also predicted what I thought Andy Farrell was going to pick, and this was my predicted team for Andy Farrell. And as you can see, all 23 names absolutely correct. 4 of the players, had switched around. Aki and Tuipulotu were the other way around, and Chesham and Burner the other way around. But I might actually play the lottery this weekend, because 23 out of 23, not to toot my own horn, but that's quite hard to do given the level of talent that there is in the Lions squad. So what do you think? I mean, look, I've said national identity is dissolved, but let's just acknowledge the fact, because it is a shame, this is the first time since 1899 that there is no Welshman that is in the squad. And that will be painful for a Welsh fan base that are fanatical about rugby and have had a really horrible time. And, you know, they got a win last weekend, and then maybe they were thinking, and we'll cheer Jack Morgan on. But hopefully the whole of Wales is going to get behind the Lions despite that, in the way that Scotland did when Warren Gatland selected no Scots and 10 Welsh players. And you know what? That is the brutality of elite sport. That is how it should be. There isn't time for sentiment in modern professional rugby. There is a conversation to be had about the British and Irish Lions as a concept in the modern professional era, and certainly when it comes to touring Australia. But that post-mortem is for after the tour. The reality is the opposition in Australia has not been nearly good enough. Australia as a destination, amazing country. I've never been. I'm looking forward to taking you on my journey around Australia over the next couple of weeks. But Australia as a destination, there is a question mark next to it. That's for another time. Right now, it's about the game in Brisbane. And as much as it's disappointing for Wales, what a story for Scotland. Russell, Tuipulotu and Jones. That is just such a cool story in and of itself. And also, just the story of Sione Tuipulotu is awesome. Born and raised in Australia, Scottish grandmother, adopted nation, becomes their captain, and he's playing in Brisbane for the Lions. I mean, how can you not just think that is a really, really cool story? And just imagine how exciting it is for his family. On that, by the way, I'm absolutely certain that the fact that this is such a big moment for the players and their family, many of whom are travelling over. So I'd imagine there might be some family members who were waiting to hear the squad, and then we're going to hop on the first flight to Australia if they could, to go and see their son, brother, nephew, whatever it is, playing for the Lions. And I think that's probably why this squad has been leaked, because it's almost impossible to kind of keep that from bubbling out into the ether. But it is a shame that the team was leaked, because you want to have that full level of excitement. It's like knowing what your Christmas present is on Christmas morning. It's just when you're a kid, it's just not the same, is it? So I was slightly disappointed when I looked at the team, not because of the 23, but because it's like, oh, it is the same as the one that was leaked. But I guess, do I say congratulations, Dan Schofield of the Telegraph, for getting the scoop? Whatever. Anyway, on with the actual team itself. I've got no complaints whatsoever. There's lots of positions, and this is the nature of the Lions, where you could have taken one player out, and there's 2, 3, 4 in some cases players that you could have put in. And the tough marginal calls you feel are Tuipulotu and Aki. They're both in the 23-man squad. No worries here. And that Scottish connection, totally understand why that cohesion is one thing you lean on, particularly with Finn Russell alongside them as well. You've also got the tight call in the Joe McCarthy getting the nod in the second row. You kind of thought it was going to be a call between him and Tadhg, as it is they are both in the starting lineup, because the big calls, Ellis Genge and Andrew Porter is another one, but again, both in the squad. No worries there. Finlay Bealham getting in one of the tight head prop spots. That might have been that was possibly a tight call as well. Although who can complain about Furlong on his 7th Test match in a row, and Will Stewart on the bench, who has been one of the best tight head props in the world in the last year. And that pedigree is definitely a factor when it comes to the back row. Now, first and foremost, Andy Farrell has tactically gone with a bigger man, a line-out option at number 6. There are no out-and-out 6s on the tour. There's no one that plays blindside flanker as their primary position on the tour. Consequently, it was either go with a bigger man, who's a second row playing in the back row, or go with one of your many, many 7s. And he's gone with a bigger man. Started off the tour against Argentina and in the early games with like the double 7s, and I get a feeling that's how Andy Farrell was thinking about going, but he's reverted back and gone for the power game, the set-piece game. For what it's worth, set-piece-wise, I don't think Australia are going to kick the ball off the field very much at all. I think they're going to keep the tempo high, try and move these guys around. So the Lions are going to want to try and control the tempo through set-piece, through getting the ball off the pitch, the kicking game. And on the kicking game, Tom Curry is absolutely world-class at putting pressure on the opposition if you're going to go for a tactical kicking game. He is just world-class anyway, but Byrne and Curry are the two names that keep coming up by fans who are looking at this and trying to pick holes in it, pointing out form on tour. I don't think the whole form on tour thing is nearly as pronounced as some people are saying. I think Byrne's had really, really great moments. Curry's had really strong games as well. And the fact is, whoever was picked, there are going to be some, in the back row particularly, there are going to be some brilliant players who miss out on selection. It could have been Josh van der Fleer in there, and that would have been justified. It could have been Jack Morgan in there, and that would have been justified. Could have been Ben Earl in there, and that would have been justified. Ben Earl being on the bench will soften the blow for him a little bit. And no Pollock, no Party, but you know what? He will have other times. Jack Conan, remarkable that he is starting again. After 4 years ago and not being the first choice for his country. It is a brilliant story as well that he's starting for the Lions once again. Actually, now on that, spare a thought for Caelan Doris and other players that are on the sidelines wondering what might have been. Very, very cool team. I like it. I'm not negative about it one bit, and I'm going to follow this up with a video on the case for Tom Curry. So keep an eye out for that one. But on to Australia then, and do you know what? This was a team. It's a weird one with the Lions, isn't it? Because even though they're the opposition, I'm disappointed that certain players aren't there. I'm gutted that there's no Rob Valentini. He's massive for them. I mean, what a moment for Nick Champion de Crepney. What an amazing name. And a debut in a Lions test is huge. That's something else. So what a moment for him. But Rob Valentini, one of Australia's best players and one of the guys that can really take it to the Lions physically. So that's massive. But to be without him and Will Skelton, I think that's huge. I think that is game-changing. And also, without their first choice fly half, Tom Liner. I mean, talk about stories. His dad was a legend. Can he do it? Coming in late for an injury, 22 years of age. I mean, there's a potential amazing Australian sporting story bubbling right there. But can they? Will they? I'm not so sure. I just think without that power that they're missing, Skelton and Valentini, That is huge because the Lions can lose a guy like Valentini in the back row. As I've just said, I've reeled off the names of players that aren't there, like Van der Fleer and Morgan. But Australia don't have that. And do they have the top-end talent at all to live with the Lions? They've got huge talent, and I'll go through a combined team in a minute. I think their centres and fullback are absolutely brilliant and would be in a Lions squad. I just concerned about their pack. But do you know what they do have, actually? Now I should just mention what they do have is Joe Schmidt, who will have kept his cards close to his chest. They've only had one game against Fiji where they showed nothing. And I don't know what's been going on behind closed doors, but I know that Joe Schmidt will have cooked something up that can bring it to the Lions. I think Australia have to win this first test if it's going to be a series that doesn't go 3-0. I think this first test is absolutely massive for them. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I kind of want Australia to be good so that the test series is good. But then I don't want that to sound patronising because we could have an egg on our face after this first test and if Wallabies go on and win a series. So I have done a combined 23-man squad. If you had access to all the players from both squads, who would you pick? And it's very red. To underline the point about what a giant task this is for Australia, they are ranked number 8 in the world. The Lions are bringing together the best players from 4 nations, although that doesn't make you 4 times better because it's a real big challenge just getting all those players to play under the one banner and in the same, and get a template that works for them all. That's the challenge of the Lions. That's what makes it brilliant. I've got 4 Australians in there, 2 in the back row, Fraser McCrighton, Harry Wilson, although Jack Conan and Tom Curry could quite happily have gone with them. I went for Joseph Suaalii, and he's the face of Australian rugby, and I hope he shows us why. Maybe not too much, like he did against England at Twickenham last November. The guy's got the world at his feet. Incredible athlete. He seems like a really good bloke as well. In interviews, he's really, really engaging. But that could quite easily have been Hugh Jones, who's been one of the star performers for the Lions. And Angus Bell over Andrew Porter. That's a coin flip as well. They're both absolutely brilliant. So my point being, there are 4 Aussies in there. And in each of those selections, it could quite easily have been the British and Irish Lions player. So you have to say Lions are heavy favourites for this one. Although I do think the fact it's 4 countries and maybe even better players doesn't just automatically get you the win. Because that crowd, that team, Joe Schmidt, the challenge of the Lions, just bring it on. I travel to Australia later and I cannot wait. And thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'll see you on the next video.